Hello and welcome to another episode of Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. On this episode, I know you're looking at this being like, wait a minute, what in the world is happening this time? Yep, no Pacific Theater. I know I haven't seen you guys for a while, partly because I've been playing Pacific Theater games, and of course most of the Pacific Theater games I play I've already done videos of. So that kind of explains my hiatus here, so to speak, the last couple of weeks. But what I'm going to bring you here today is a little bit of a different game, on a topic that I usually don't game, about the Crusades time period. Crusades, I read a book like when I was in 7th, 8th grade, something like that, and that was enough for me. It's not a topic I'm usually interested in, but I was intrigued by the game system, so I decided to take a look at this and share it with you all. So, a little bit of a spoiler alert here. This is a preview copy of a game that's going to be on Kickstarter starting March the 25th. And the game in question is this one, Saladin, which is designed by Denis Savage, I hope, and that's from Shakos. Now, Shakos is the same company that did Napoleon 1806 and 1807, two games I enormously enjoy. So when they were looking for somebody to take a look at an advanced copy of this, I said, sure, I'll take a look at it. And so I have this here in my hands. Now, I can show you the box. And it is pretty nice. It's a pretty compact box, but as you'll see here in a minute, there's no reason for it not to be. The rule book I have is from online. There's been some changes and things made. Nothing big, but I'll share those with you if necessary here. But this is basically a game covering two battles of the Crusades commanded by Saladin up against Richard. And I'm not sure which Richard it is. Richard the Lionhearted, maybe? Again, if I butcher the history on this, I apologize, because this is not in my wheelhouse at all. Okay, but that being said, again, I was curious about the game system, and if you look at this right now, you can see here in front of you the map I have, the battles all laid out. For those of you who are familiar with, and I can't find my hard copies, I'm going to have to show you a picture on my phone. With this game here, W1815, which came out about 5 or 6 years ago, you will notice some similarities with that game. Okay? Alright, so let's get started. Alright, the object of the game is to basically defeat your opponent by reducing their orders. Orders are identified by these circular discs. You get orders by smashing the enemy forces and also by capturing their banners. So once a banner is captured, once a unit is rendered combat ineffective, then at the start of each turn you lose an order by attrition to begin with, and then you also lose however many orders, or the number of orders based on however many banners you've lost. So for example, if old Richard down here has lost 2 banners, then at the start of turn, say 4, then he would lose 1 order just for attrition, and then 2 more for the 2 banners, until again you have no orders left at all in the game. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first phase of each turn is the chaos phase, where basically what happens what I just said. Okay? After that, the initiative goes to the player with the fewest orders that are available. So for this battle here, which is the Battle of Arsuf, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, the forces under Saladin begin with 12 orders, and the ones under Richard begin with 11, so he will have the initiative. If there is a tie, then it depends on the scenario-specific rules. In this case, the Crusaders would be the ones to give their orders first. Okay? Now, orders basically are given to each unit individually. So again, for those of you who play W1815, you'll notice the similarities here. In that game, you give an order to a unit, and they do things. That game, though, is a lot of straight-up dice rolling, and then basically trying to take advantage of what's going on. This game's a little different. This game definitely a step up in complexity, but I would still classify this game as a light war game. Okay? So with the cards here, you got 2 sides to them. You have the deployed side, and then you have the side here with the little sword that tells you they have been given orders this turn. Now that becomes important later on when you start to run short of orders for the turn. Okay, each card tells you things like who you can attack, and depending where, and then of course who you can be attacked by. Okay, there are two different parts of some cards, not all cards. There is a uncommitted and a committed side to each one of them, depending on where you are. And then you have the orders available to you. And for example, here, if you just play a hold for these guys, you would spend 1 order to do that. If you want to charge, you need 2 orders, and then you roll combat dice. The red dice are used to inflict damage on the enemy, in this case, and the green is whatever damage you receive in return. Now, of course, when you play the Forces of Saladin, that's flipped. The green dice inflict damage on the Crusaders, and the red dice is the damage that they receive. Okay? So you can give orders to your forces. Some of them have zeros, you saw on that last card. So technically you could give them a 0 order if you wanted. Leaders, a little different, not too different. But they also, you can use them to do these things, and then they have a spent side. Oops, sorry, let me grab that better. They have a spent side to let you know they've been used for the turn. Notice they also have the sword there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get ready to rumble. And this game does come with custom dice. Whoops. 3 of each color. I mention that not only because there are custom dice involved, but also because if you're somebody like me who likes to roll a boatload of dice and never likes to roll the same die twice, you know, depending on how things are with the Kickstarter and stuff, you might want to get extra dice. Alright, so the first thing I'll do is I'm going to go ahead just to show you how things work and just to get the ball rolling. We're going to go wild here. So we're going to go ahead and activate Richard's force here. And he can target the Ala Afdal force. Okay. And we have to use one of these yellow ones because at this point he is not committed yet in battle. When he gets into the white area, then he's committed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a charge. It's going to cost me 2 orders. I'll roll 3 red dice and 1 green one, and then notice this here tells you when to change the status. So these guys are going to move on the map board here in a minute. They start here, and again notice the coat of arms matches. The symbols also match over here, okay, to make it very easy to do. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 of the order discs and I'm going to place them in the used order pile. Now for me, I just have 1 big cup since I'm playing solo with this. And let's go ahead and let's get rolling. So here comes Richard's forces. Nice. Good start. Now each one of these symbols is a lance symbol. So those will be markers that are removed from the game from the opposing side. There's also a blank side, and then there's also a order side like this that basically has a loss of orders. You have to spend extra orders because of the chaos of battle, etc., etc. Okay, so good start here. So we're going to slam into these guys because remember again, our card tells us that's who we are able to attack, and that is the only unit we were able to attack. Once you get the hang of this, it goes pretty quick. Again, like I said, this is very much a light war game. It's the kind of game I would introduce somebody to, or if you were trying to introduce somebody to the topic itself, like, you know, the Crusades, this would be a nice way to do it. Okay? Alright, so we wiped out 3 bars. Now, if you look here, let me zoom in here real carefully. Let's go over here. Yeah, let's go over here to Bourgogne here. If you look carefully here, you can see there's a 1 and there's a 2. Okay, so you start with the 1 column for each unit and you remove their bars until you get to the top. Now, once a column's removed, that usually results in a problem for that side. Either it costs you extra orders, or eventually, if you remove all of them, you will end up losing that banner, which goes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the game. Whenever you're fighting as time goes on, and with the orders at the beginning of each turn. So you can see there's a 1 and a 2, and when you inflict damage, you, the owning player, goes ahead and removes them from the game. Now, where they're removed to, and I'll just show you this from the Crusader side here, okay? They're removed to these slots here. Okay. Once these are full, these are removed from the game, never to return, ever. Okay. Before that, if there's like say 3 of these here, then you might be able to bring them back by losing like Richard here, you can see at the bottom it says replaced one lost Lancer. But if it's off here, if it's back in the box, in your dead pile, however you want to put it, then wrong, you cannot bring it back. Okay? So, let's go up here, and let's inflict the damage. So we're going to start here with their one block. Now, one thing about playing solo is the board is set up so that each player can see it themselves. So you just kind of have to keep that in mind. Now, here's the one slot for this formation. So we're going to move all three of these blocks and move them over to here. Okay? And now, if you look here, it is upside down, but let me get my pointer much easier. Now, whoops, these guys moved. Now you can see here, this is +1. So if this unit wants to activate now, it's going to cost them 1 extra order to do something. Okay, so that was a good solid hit. Oh, actually there was 4 hits, that's right. So they actually start on the next column. And again, notice, I'm removing it from the bottom. Okay, but already there are 4 Lancers that have been shattered from Saladin's side. Okay, now we got to see what happens by rolling a green die to Richard's forces. Oh, and look at that. Richard's leading a charmed life. It is, whoop, there we go. It is blank. Okay, so a good start for the Crusaders here to begin the game. All right, now I will take Richard, and because his forces are committed, okay, here is where they start. Here is where they will end up. Okay, notice the shields here too. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see the 2 different shields here. So if you look here where Richard starts, there is a yellow shield. Up here, notice the coat of arms showing you where he goes. And then here, the white is the committed force. Now, once you slam into an enemy force, this will make them committed as well too, because now they're going to be battling against Richard's forces, basically in like a melee kind of situation. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's charge those guys up there. One thing I will say for folks like me who have big hands, this can be a little tricky moving these little bars around. But you know, hey, it's all right. No worries. All right, so now it is the turn of Saladin's forces. Okay, so now again, I can activate any unit that has not been activated yet, or ordered, I should say. The terminology in the game is deployed, which is how everybody starts. And then once you give them an order, they flip over to their ordered side. So, whoops, I forgot to flip Richard to his ordered side. Okay, and if you see here, you can see this is the deployed side. And again, not only do you have this, but notice the color changes from this bright red to like this kind of brown here. Okay, which also lets you know that things have happened. All right, so let me see who I'm going to activate here. Now, I could do a couple of things. I could use Saladin to replace one of the lost units and kind of keep that unit from having to have a 1 used on it again, having to have an extra order used on it. Or I could take some of the units in the back and reinforce if I wanted. That is another option too, but you know what? Let's let those guys take a little bit of a licking, and let's go ahead and let's attack our opponents. So I'm going to go ahead and use this formation here, which is Ala al-Din. And since I'm on the yellow, I can only go after Henry II's people. But I can harass them. So I can spend 2 orders and harass Henry's people. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to spend my 2 orders, put them off to the side. And I get to roll 2 green dice. Let's see how the harassment went. Not too bad. Not too bad harassing Henry's people. We eliminated 1 lance and we cost them an order. So now this order will go off to the side. And again, we come down here to Henry's people and we take the first bar off and move it over here. And then we have to roll 1 red die to see what impact it had on Ala al-Din's people, if any at all. It may have no impact whatsoever. Nope. It did cost them an order. So shoot, that really cost 3 orders for whatever reason. And again, I flip that card over to its other side, and it is now ordered from being deployed. All right, back over to Richard. Okay, now you cannot pass until you don't have any orders left, by the way, and then you can only pass if you don't have a unit that is still deployed and has a zero cost order. If you do, they have to do something. Okay, now some of them just have hold orders and things like that. Okay, there are counterattacks here. I'll try to do a counterattack here to show you how that works. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll come over here to these folks, the Napolis, and they can target, what do we got here? Suleiman. And again, if I'm mispronouncing some of these things, I'm really not familiar with this topic. But again, just because I'm not familiar with the topic doesn't mean anything in terms of gameplay and stuff. So just bear that in mind, okay? Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and attack them. I'm going to give these guys a charge order. So I can use 2 of my orders to do that. And then in a 2-player game, you would ask the other person, the target unit, if you are going to do a counterattack. Okay, and they're going to. They are going to go ahead and spend 2 orders and intercept instead. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and intercept. Or I'm sorry, no, they're not going to intercept. My apologies. I was looking at the wrong card. They're going to evade. Okay, now the order will cancel the order that was for the Napolis. Okay, so they still count as being ordered and be flipped over, but their order gets canceled. And now we're going to roll 1 die of each color as they attempt to evade to see what happens. Well, pretty bloody evasion there if you look there. So we got 1 lance damaged on the naps, so to speak. Not to be confused with the gnats for those of you in the DC area. And then on the other side, or I'm sorry, actually 2 on them. And then on the other side, these guys in their 1 column, they also will take a hit. Okay. Now, as the Saladin player, you might want to start thinking about using the leader card, because you can see over here things are starting to get filled up. Okay, so those folks also count as having an order now, so they get flipped over to the other side, and now it's back to Saladin's people. Okay, so let me just double check and make sure all the details on that. Just want to make doubly sure that I'm not missing anything here. So, the order expenses there. Enemy is turned to its ordered side. Oh, nope, I was wrong. The side that did the counterattack, they do stay on their deployed side. So you're still going to need to do something with them. So you know what? Let's do something with them. We'll go ahead and turn around and we'll spend 2 orders and have them harass. Okay, now the naps can't do much about that, so let's see what kind of damage we can get here. Ow. Well, that stung. 3. So 1, 2, and 3. I will say it would be nice if the boxes were a little bit bigger, because it kind of makes it hard to line them up on them here and stuff. So sometimes you almost have to count. Okay, so now there's actually 6 over here. And there's 6 boxes. So all these boxes now are filled, which is bad news. Because as soon as they get filled with 6, you remove them from the board. And I have my little pile up there. Now they're removed from the game. And now it's going to cost 1 extra order to have these guys do anything. So that did not go very well at all. But let's see if they paid anything for it, because there's a red die on their card. Whoops. And it did cost them. It cost them 1 of their own Lancers. So 2, 4, 3. Oh, it kind of backfired. I probably should have used Saladin first because that's 6. So now all those are gone from the game too. Okay, so none of those Lancers now can come back. So we are obviously having quite a bit of a battle going on here. Both sides are pounding on each other. I have to grab this errant die who made a jump over the game table here. Sorry about that. Alright. So now they will get their card flipped. And now back over to Richard's armies. Alright, let's see. What should I do now? Well, we kind of taken a pretty bad beating here to start. So let's... Let's do... I'm not sure what to do here. Let's try and... Well, let's try and hit on the right flank. We haven't done anything over here yet on this right flank. So let's go ahead and let's try that. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to charge again. That's going to cost me 2 against those folks over here. Now they can evade again if they wish. And they will. So they'll spend 1 to evade. Or 1 die of each. Well, that kind of backfired on them a little bit. They were able to evade, but it did. Oh no, it came with losses on the Crusaders. So once again, we've got another lance that's coming over to here. And now we'll start the whole process again of filling in these blocks. So things are not going so well here on the early going for Richard's people. Alright, now Saladin kind of has the upper hand here, but the question is, what should he do? You know what? He's going to go ahead and strike back on that same position there, and he's going to go ahead and harass, spending 2. Ooh, nice roll on the harass. Look at that. 2 Lancers. So there's another 2 gone from that banner. And it costs Richard another order. Woo! Okay. This is not going so well. Nope, not going so well at all. Alright. They're just pounding away here. Oh, sorry. They also need to roll red die. Oh! Well, that was a bit bloody. So they took 2 losses themselves. So they're not getting away unscathed here as the battle rages. Okay, now back to Mr. Richard, or King Richard, I guess I should say, and his troops. Okay, well, the situation has gotten kind of dicey here. So now the question is, what should I do? I could charge, just like I did earlier when I took Richard II's people here. I could take these guys and charge up into here and go slamming into Ala al-Din. You know what? Let's do that. Let's see if we can inflict some damage here. So we're going to charge. It's going to cost us 2 of our last 3 orders, but we got to do something. Okay, so we get to roll 2 red dice, see what kind of damage we can inflict. Not too bad, not too bad, not too bad. Got 2 lances there. And the damage, oh! So that was a rather brutal situation. Now these guys are going to have to add +1 to do something with their orders. And these guys also suffered 2 losses. And again, because their card says, because their card says that they move up into the committed space now, that's what they'll do. And again, you just keep the bars, the lances, where they were. So I had 3 in the 2 column, and I have just 1 in the one column, almost to the point where I'm about to lose another order. And I've got 5 lances again that have been slammed. Whew, this is not good at all. And I still have 2 other units that I gotta get some orders to, because otherwise we're gonna have a problem. All right. Whew, not good. All right. So now Saladin's people are also kind of running out of orders and running out of time here. Let's see. We only have 3 left at this point. And we got to be careful how we use them, because if you end up with a 0 order, like for example this card, if you end up with a 0 order here, notice it's rout. So you would roll 3 red dice and inflict damage on them, basically simulating that, you know, this unit's kind of losing their nerve, they're losing their discipline, and all the chaos that's going on around them. I would assume that's how that would be interpreted. So, need to be careful of that. Alright. Well, in that case, because I do want to make sure that we don't end up with a problem here, I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 order for these guys. And they are kind of, it's a kind of a loose attack, seems to be what it's saying. And it did cost, oh, it did cost Richard an order. Ooh, that's going to sting. He's got no orders left. Ouch. Alright. Okay. Well, now Richard, I can go ahead and play his card. And I can use one of the things there, and I'm going to recover a spent order. But now, of course, he's done for the turn. And I still have 2 units that still need to be activated. So that is a bit of a problem right now. Alright. Back over here to Saladin's people. He could go ahead and recover a spent order if he wanted to. But most of his units have activated at this point. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I don't need to do that there, but he could reinforce one of the others. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take Aslam, and I'm going to spend the 2 orders here and reinforce. Now notice, or I'll spend 1 and reinforce. Now notice it shows you which banners you can reinforce. So I'm going to transfer 1 lance to one of these guys here, either the red or the green. Both of them have taken a pretty good beating, but I'm going to go ahead and transfer his over here because I want to cover up this +1 cost for orders. Alright, back to Richard, who only has 1 order left. And I got 2 units that need to do something. Oh, they both could end up routing though. Ugh, this is not good. Without any orders on them. So orders, as you can see, are very, very important. You want to be able to budget them, figure out how to handle them, etc. Okay, well, you know what? Let's choose Henry. We'll spend the 1 order, and we'll go ahead and set up a shield wall. Yeah, we'll go ahead and set up a shield wall against them. And we'll go ahead and commit him there. And it ended up being 1 lance, but there's a -1 on that order. So basically it comes out to 0. No worries there. Okay, so now we only have left, I have the leader there, and I also have Saladin, the leader, and Saladin's banner as well. Okay, so what I think I'll do here is I will go ahead and I will use Saladin to replace a lance, except in Arsuf. So I'm going to go ahead and take one of these guys and place him over here. And that now back is to Richard, and now I have no choice but to use this one here, which is this unit kind of losing its nerve. I guess this is how this to be interpreted. Well, we lost an order, which we can't do, but they also lost a lance. So I should have done a better job of taking care of those. And now, unfortunately, again, we have 3, we have 6. So I cannot recover those. So the body count is starting to pile up for the Crusaders. Yikes. And again, you know, there's probably a more optimal way to do this. And I know nothing about tactics and stuff and battles from the Middle Ages. So I may be going about this completely wrong as far as how I should do things. But let's get the last one done here. We'll spend 1 order to keep these guys in reserve because I don't want to sacrifice and I can't intercept. So to avoid the sacrifice, which would be rolling red dice to inflict damage, I'll do that. And then the turn is over. Okay. So now we go to the end here, which is the redeployment phase, which basically, with the redeployment phase, all you're going to end up doing is turning over all the cards that you activated this particular turn. That's it. You know, again, this is a pretty straightforward concept. It's a straightforward game. It is very much like Waterloo 1850. I mean, even if you look at the cards here, Waterloo, of course, there's a little different kind of situation here. You know, what it costs you, roll a die. You basically roll a die to find out what it costs you and stuff. But these guys really don't move on the board if you've played this game. But it is very much, you know, the similar concept to it. But again, I can't find the rest of my hard copy. I don't know what I'd do with it. So anyway, there's a complete turn for you, just to show you how it kind of works and how it ebbs and flows. And again, the Crusaders obviously are in deep doo-doo right now. We'll see if they can salvage anything here in this particular battle. But again, I'm no medieval warfare expert, so you know, take my strategy and actions here with a huge, not just a grain of salt, you know, more like a, you know, a tub, I guess. But I will say this, just to kind of give a brief overview here. The components are nice, as you can see. It's a mounted map board. The cards are nice and big. They're easy to read once you get the hang of the symbols, which is all laid out in the rulebook very nicely. But again, the rulebook was being finalized when I got this advanced copy, so I printed mine offline. That's why I haven't really showed it to you, because there's really not much to show. But just to give you an idea, I mean, you can see here this page that I printed off. You know, it shows you how to set things up in detail, and you know, there is examples of play in the rulebook as appropriate. So complexity here is very low, but it is, again, as I said at the outset of this is a nice, light, fun war game that will be good for introducing someone to the idea of wargaming, or, like I said, if you're trying to introduce somebody to the time period, trying to introduce them to the battles and the events of the Crusades, this would be probably a good place to start, as opposed to something bigger. I'm trying to think of a bigger game, but again, this not really my wheelhouse, so I don't know. I don't know what would be, you know, more complicated game for this. So, but this, again, I mean, this is the kind of game I could play with my wife. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just read the card, execute your actions. But again, unlike the morale tracks in Waterloo 1815, you here are focused on the orders. And again, as things go on, you will lose the order disc, not only from attrition each turn, but from losing banners. And of course, the more lances you lose, the more units you lose from a given space, the more orders you'll have to permanently remove from the game as it goes on. So of course, you can see here there's no set number of game turns involved. This game just goes on until somebody finally, one person has orders left and the other person has none. Okay. So, there you have it. Again, if you're interested in this, you can check out, they're launching their Kickstarter on March the 25th of this month, as I recall. So, alright. Up next, for me, I'm not sure, because I've been looking at a few things. I'm continuing to be deep into my Pacific Theater of Operations. I haven't really played any new games per se, because then I played a lot of my, my favorite games that I enjoy. Centrifugal Offensive, which I showed you last episode. I had highlighted that game, but I also played, like Islands of the Damned. I was also playing as kind of a filler, waiting for some other games to come. I played Atlantic Wolves, which I did a video last year, the year before, which I forget what the old name of the game was off the top of my head, but Battle of the Atlantic or something like that. But this is the newer version of that with much better components. It's a nice upgrade for it. And it's a good filler. It's one of those filler games that I talk about. I'm also toying around right now trying to find a strategic game. I've been messing around with Asia Engulfed, and I also have been looking at I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, the Axis Empire's Dai Senso, because there's a lot of focus on the land part, and I've been kind of kicking around some sandbox ideas. And one of the sandbox things I want to maybe mess with is having Japan attack Manchuria in 1931, but then not invade China, and basically play nice with the U.S. so they don't get the oil embargo, and then wait for Operation Barbarossa to unleash, and then attack the Soviet Union in 1941. So I'm kind of kicking around with that. That would be a good one for that, because the emphasis in Dai Senso is on the land part of it, but Asia and Gulf will be good for the whole rest of the war, the naval aspect and stuff, which I've had Asian Gulf for a while. I just never really have gotten it out yet. And I continue to do work on my carrier game that I shared with you guys. I've already kind of refined and tweaked some things, changing some things around. I've been reading a lot about Midway and some of the other battles, trying to refine things, and still trying to keep that balance of not being quite as again, trying to stay between Fires of Midway and carrier battles, which is coming out from Compass Games as well. So, alright, so there you have it. If you're looking for a nice light war game on the Crusades, this will work. If you like W1815, you like that feel of that set piece battle, this is a game you might want to look into as well. This is going to be a series, because if you look at the box here, and again, just to make clear to everybody, I did get this as an advanced preview copy to take a look at and such. But if you look up here, this is going to be a series of games. So this is the first one that's coming out in the series, with, as Johnny Carson would say, more to come. All right. So next episode, I'm not sure where I'm going to be coming from. We'll see. Again, since I'm doing Pacific Theater, and most of the Pacific Theater games I've highlighted already on my channel that I have, it makes it a little difficult to do videos. But I'll see if I can throw in some reviews of games I've done in the past, just to kind of keep things going, keep things active around here in the Bare Bones Wargaming headquarters. All right, so with that in mind, what do I do with my sign? There it is. This is Tim Korchner from Bare Bones Wargaming, saying thanks for joining me through this little jaunt through the medieval period, and I'll be back next episode with something a little more modern, shall we say. I had played Forgotten Pacific Battles, by the way, too, from World at War number 71, I believe. I might go ahead and use that one, too, because that's one I actually have not done on my channel. But the naval aspect of the Pacific Theater interests me a lot more than operation or tactical games that cover, like Invasion of Islands, with the exception of D-Day at Tarawa, which I enjoy, and I guess Islands of the Damned. I enjoy both of those. Those hit the sweet spot for me between complexity and playability. Investment for fun, if you will. Okay. All right. So again, Kickstarter on this is March 25th. So check it out. If you've enjoyed the other two Napoleon games, this isn't as complicated because this is just a set-piece tactical battle game, whereas the Napoleonic games are operational. But, again, it's light, easy fun, good thing to introduce people with. And just, a good one to kick back if you're looking for a quick game for an evening or a filler game, and you just want to line up armies and everybody yell and bang their shields and away we go. Hey, boo boo. Although I don't think Yogi probably would do so well with that. He'd probably be in the rear with the gear. Alright, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.